unbelievable work with Earth Spirit. Well, actually, he always does. He's always incredible. And then, look at this. Nature's Prophet, Wisp, first ban from Newbee. Think we're going to see Coddle out of Liquid?
10 seconds remaining.
I think it's hard to say. I think it's a big decision for them to ban this Nature's Prophet. I think it's the right call to make. To me, it says that they're probably going to stick with their Bot Seeker, because I think before playing against Nature's Prophet, they haven't really encountered anything that Bloodseeker could lane against. So they start out with Lich. I guess it's sort of a deny pick as well. It's an open first pick, so pretty good for them to have their support shown only. I think it's weird to me if it's actually like this, where Newbee had selection priority in first game and Liquid this game, then Newbee took second pick first game, and now they have first pick. So if that's the case, I assume that both teams prefer second pick.
I mean, Team Liquid. You know, these are their two winningest heroes. Just getting them right out of the way right now, you now know you're going to have a strong lane with Venomancer.
I mean, that's a great thing about Liquid, in my opinion, because they have just so many things they can pull off the bag. Like, I personally think they are the hardest team to like draft against, because their hero pool is just like, they can play almost every single hero in the game, I feel like. And when you know, like, some team picks LC second, you know they're kind of lost. That's the case with Newbee right now.
Walk me through that. Make it explicit for all the non-professional players out there.
I don't know. Craig, would you like to explain?
I mean, I think this Legion Commander hero is the hero that the Chinese teams have liked a lot. I think it's pretty exclusive with Lich. There might be something to it against Venomancer. It's a pretty okay lane matchup against Veno, so I'm guessing that's their idea. I think the good thing about Liquid's opener is that they have two heroes that they've played in multiple roles. They can enable each other in the way that Mind Control can play this Venomancer. Because GH plays Shaker, then he can block the offlane wave, and then this Veno is enabled. So for Liquid, the difference between Liquid's first two in this game and Newbee's last game is that their draft is open. And I think if you want to, if I go from the assumption that they took second pick, this is what you need to abuse, because if you run into the second phase where you have to show your course, you're going to get counterpicked. But this way they kind of avoid it, so it's a good opener from Liquid.
We've been talking about all of these heroes that are good versus summons. Shaker, the one that Team Liquid have been going to. Legion Commander actually not that bad of a matchup versus Nature's Prophet, but I think overall the playstyle from Nature's Prophet too good in Liquid's hands. And yeah, it is one of the few heroes that can stand toe-to-toe versus Veno in lane.
You know who's really good against summons, Merlini? It's Winter Warvin.
Yeah. Can't argue with that.
Newbee could have used it last game, to be honest. I was talking to Crit and he thought that was a real good pick there.
This isn't even for the memes, but I think last
game,
when they picked Crystal Maiden, I was thinking to myself, this is where they should pick Winter Wyvern. And I know the hero hasn't had a lot of success, and I know there's a lot of memes about it.
It has not had success.
Yeah,
but I think you have to look at the games, because one of the games we played against Liquid in the group stage, we were playing with Bad Rider and Winter Wyvern, and the Wyvern, the way it works against Liquid, especially against this Nature's Prophet, is that it gives you a support that can push out waves, and it's also a strong laner. Most supports can't really match up against Nature's Prophet on lanes, but what Wyvern does is that he moves between lanes instead. So I thought it was an interesting idea, but this game obviously no Nature's Prophet, so I doubt they will even be thinking about it.
Yeah. We see the Morphling ban, and there was some intimidating Morphling play out of Miracle in this tournament, and well, I guess, you know, fourth ban on the Coddle and on the Dazzle. This Dazzle pick is, this Dazzle ban is kind of interesting to me.
Dazzle is a straight up counter to Legion Commander, because you want to duel and burst someone, but Dazzle just graves you.
Oh, of course.
And so the entire duration of duel is a bit less than the Dazzle grave duration, so it's like a straight up counter. And this feel like Liquid could probably use some lane pressure, and Dazzle is lane pressure, I think. It's felt like they should ban it.
Now, Ancient Apparition is an interesting pick in Team Liquid's history because they have been first banning it most of the time in their lower bracket run back.
Yeah, I think the reason why Newbee banned these two heroes were because they know that Liquid have to pick a position 5 first thing in the next in this phase, because they're gonna probably assume that this Shaker is gonna be GH, but they don't know if this Veno is gonna be, like, which core it's gonna be. They know it's gonna be a core. So Liquid basically have no reason to show a core on this third pick, and they decide to pick AA. It could have been Dazzle, was probably the best option, and then I think they banned Coddle because of the comfort. And then I think AA is just as good as the others, honestly. But it's hard for Newbee to ban out all the good position 5s right now.
Now, in terms of those cores, what do you see coming forward down the line from Newbee? What types of cores are they going to be exploring?
Could be an AM game. You guys love AM versus Veno.
I think,
So far it's okay.
yeah, but everyone on the team feels like that Shaker is a direct counter to AM.
Yeah.
And if you add AA with that, I think it's not the dream AM game.
But I think there's a difference between playing AM against the support Shaker and a mid lane Shaker. Because what we would like to do against AM if we had Veno and Shaker is that we would put Shaker mid because the physical burst is really good against AM. So Newbee picked Sanking here, which is what they were probably supposed to do. They needed to pick some position 4 because they don't know the cores of Liquid yet. And this is where Liquid, they kind of have to pick a core, commit to something.
5 seconds remaining.
It could be anything, honestly.
That's a... Actually, I don't know if that's a really good pick. But
I think what they're thinking is that they don't want this Venomancer to lane against Legion Commander. So most likely what's going to happen is that they're going to put this Venomancer in mind control, put him off lane, and then this Necrolight's going to go safe lane against Legion, which is probably a lane that they think is good. I'm not sure how it goes with Lich on the lane as well. Could be a bit hard.
So we have some nice ability to catch with Sand King's stun, Legion Commander's ultimate duel.
I think from what I've seen from Liquid, actually, they played yesterday. They banned AA twice. That was against LGD, I think. I'm not sure. I think it was LGD, but they banned AA twice in the first phase, and both those games they went for some heroes that are like countered by AA. They went for Necrophos in one game, and the other game they went for Husker, I think. So so this game they picked the AA and they picked the Necrophos. So they're abusing that this hero is not available for Newbee.
Newbee picks Quap for...
10
I don't know, it does not look like a very good Quap.
No, but I think the reason why they pick Quap here is because they have to pick their mid hero before Liquid shows theirs. And I think they're scared of picking them, like getting a bad matchup mid. But when you have Queen of Pain, the chances of you having a good matchup is pretty high. And they had to pick it before Liquid anyway. So basically, they know that Liquid's last hero is going to be a miracle hero that's going to go mid.
10 seconds.
I guess it's one of the finest heroes to put mid against Liquid, because they like to rotate
Yeah,
up
they
a
like
lot.
to play around mid, so it's good to have a mobile hero there.
Last ban is Weaver for Team Liquid. Still no 5th ban from Newbee. And we've seen Team Liquid do really powerful last picks. Are there any big standouts for Team Liquid that you think are significant threats Newbee needs to look out for?
I think Miracle might just go and be like, pick me in mid.
Yeah, I could see that happen. I think that this is the hardest part when you play against Liquid and they have last pick, is that they have a lot of options on that pick. They can play like most mid heroes mid, and they can play a lot of safe laners mid as well. So it's really hard to predict what they want to go for. I think Newbee just have to take like just think of the worst hero for them. Like, what's the worst hero that Liquid could pick, and they just have to ban it, even if they don't think it's that possible, because it's gonna happen. Liquid know what heroes are good for the game.
What are some of those worst heroes?
It's hard to say this game. I think if you play against this team, I would probably say Anti-Mage, because it's a comfort hero for them, and they have the heroes that can create space for him. It's a decent lane against Quap, so I think maybe Anti-Mage. They ban Lycan. I'm not sure why they would ban Lycan.
Yeah, it looks like a really
It's a good anti-mage game. I think it makes perfect sense for them because they know the Shaker is going to be support, and they see Necrophos and Venomancer. 2 cores that are not very good against anti-mage.
Yeah, once mid-game kicks in, Lich, Legion Commander, Sand King, and Queen of Pain can do all sorts of attempts at ganking, bombing in, trying to get pickoffs, while Anti-Mage sits back and comfortably farms.
Yeah, one thing Newbee changed this game is that they have a lot of lane pressure.
Alright. We have seen Team Liquid in this situation before. Their Alchemist against an Anti-Mage. We've also seen Team Liquid in their last 2 games put up dominating performances in the first 5 minutes. And the question on everyone's mind is, can Newbee pull it together and succeed in Game 2? Let's find out. Take it away, Toby.
You know, no team has ever lost the winners bracket quarterfinal, made the lower bracket run, and won a grand final at TI. No player has won TI multiple times, and no brand has actually won TI multiple times. We get to scratch a couple of these things off at the end of this grand final, but who will it be? This draft looks a lot more balanced to at least give us a good contest.
Yeah, I think Newbee made the necessary adjustments based on game number 1. I like as much as the panel were uncertain about this Legion Commander pick, I like the idea of just having something stronger in lane. They have Lich and Legion as their first 2 picks. To me, that just screams out, okay, we got destroyed in lanes, we can't let it happen again. So they've solved that. Now Liquid are taking a bit of a slower approach in this game, a bit more greedy, which they also are very good at playing with this Necrophos and Alchemist. But Newbee, I think, made the right preparation into that last phase, getting the anti-mage pick that the panel thought would be great for Liquid. They steal it themselves and set themselves up for what I think could be a pretty good Newbee game. The challenge here is to shut down the Alchemist. If Alchemist doesn't have a good game, I'm all Newbee on this one. But do they have the right heroes for it? They at least have the Lich.
Yeah.
To start.
They had the Lich to at least balance out the lane, and maybe that's when we start to see the movement of Karka being one of the other critical points. You don't have that invis hero like we saw Bounty Hunter messing around with Alchemist in the previous matches in the playoff. So this time around, how much space do you get? How big does the Alchemist get? And how well can Newbee control it and potentially win this game too and force us into almost a best-of-3 situation you can describe it as?
It's going to be really interesting to see what goes down here. Also, something that Newbee secured themselves in this game that they didn't have in the last game. I think when you have a player like STC, you want to make sure he gets a good start. I think they sacrificed him way too hard mid in the last game. Arguably, maybe they didn't even have a choice, but his lane just went way too bad, and this time they have given him a strong laner in the Queen of Pain, one of his absolute best.
The smoke. Kura puts down the Observer Ward. He'll actually break each other's smokes, and Karka wants to go on the run. It is a boots first SK, and yeah, they do throw down the Sentry Ward, so they're going to give Queen of Pain the extra money and the vision advantage in mid. You wanted SCC to have a really fantastic lane in mid. Now you've lost that Observer Ward that's meant to gain it, and the other Observer Ward's already been placed up on the northern side to save Mind Control on that off lane. And Mind Control's going to have a hard time against Mugi. Mugi's preparing himself for a lot of damage. PMS and 4 tangos as his way to start that top lane.
Yeah, this is, in my book, a very anti-mage favorite lane when he has the safe lane and Venom's off lane. I don't think if this is even just a flat-out isolated one-on-one, Mugi will be able to take control of this lane fairly quickly. Now, something I would like to see Faith do in this game for Newbee is it looks like he's going to start dual offlane with Legion. In the past, we've seen something like Warlock Legion commander lanes, Dazzle Legion be very powerful.
I think Mind Control.
You can skill Blink and get out if you
Actually,
want.
yeah, there's no Gale. I thought for a moment they might have committed that, but Mind Control,
He will.
he's looking for the chip damage to start with.
That's decent, though. Even forcing him to skill Blink here is going to make Mind Control's laning situation a lot better, because AM wants to skill Mana Break and use that Sand King stun to pressure the Venomancer in lane. Now that Kuro is there and they have this dual lane set up, they'll be doing fine. What I would like to see from Newbee is this Legion Commander will get some help in the bottom from Lich. I think Lich should double down on this mid lane. I think they should really try to destroy Alchemist as much as they can. And then if Legion suffers a bit against Necro, then so be it. I think Legion will actually be just fine in that matchup for quite a while. One of the more sustainable heroes. But they look to contest Matumba Man as their first priority so far.
Yep. This will also allow KP to ensure his farm on this bottom lane, maybe rushing that timing into Blink Dagger so they can get the jump initiation, control the Alchemist earlier on, because they don't have that straight up initiation just yet. GH has all the initiation he wants, especially with SCCC. He doesn't actually have his Blink available, so runs around the corner. Still a Shadow Strike available, so he can actually do some return damage into GH if he likes. But he's got a creep wave coming, he wants to wait for it.
He wants to do the damage to Miracle. If he's spending mana in this lane, he wants it to go into that Alchemist.
Karka, oh, they're body blocking Kuro. Mugi blinked in front of him, so the blink actually works to get close towards Kuro. Now he has level 2, so mana breaks available. Kuro's on the run, wants to try and juke in the fog before it won't be successful. Newbee, this time around, they'll be the ones to spill first blood, and it goes to an anti-mage.
Very good start for the AM in that regard. Has 0 CS, however. Still not a single creep being brought down by Mugi. That's the benefit of this aggressive dual lane that Liquid ended up putting. Kuro will die, but so far so good still for Liquid's gameplay, I feel. The Alchemist is having a good start in the mid lane, and apart from Kuro's death, they're just fine.
Matumba, Faith wants to block him. You got the Frost Blast off cooldown right now. Matumba can't make its way back through the tree line. KP, he actually blocked it perfectly, and Newbee, they get another kill onto the opposite lane core.
I wonder if Matumba could have survived that if he used his wand and his Fairy Fire. Maybe he could have gone into the trees and salved up, but decided to hold on to them. Probably felt like there was no way he was going to survive that at all. And will be killed off. So let's see what the Lich does now. I still have my eyes on Faith. It tells a lot about Newbee's approach to the game, which lane they send this Lich to. GH will steal the bounty rune. One of the benefits of Shaker, this ability to block off
Mid lane.
support or fissure.
Miracle.
All right.
Very, very dead. Kaka was rotating in, but 2 points up in the Shadow Strike with no regeneration for an Alchemist, and that 3 armor points. And not enough to actually stop the Queen of Pain from finding the kill. I think for the first time in this series, the China crowd have finally gotten a voice.
Yeah, they get a bit to cheer for here as SCC gets to play Dota. It's gotta feel nice, you know. Last game he couldn't really do much on his Lina, got shut down very hard. This time around he is on the dominating side. Full level ahead now with Queen of Pain against Alchemist.
Matumba's
taking a hard time.
Matumba's taking a hell of a lot of damage on bottom. Frost Blast plus the level 2 up in the overwhelming odds. And KP's happy to keep aggressive. With that Frost Armor on him, GH and Matumba can't really turn around a fight. But I am really just wondering, how long do you keep Faith here? How long until you bring him up to the top lane and relieve this pressure, which is so heavily on the anti-mage?
I think AM can fend for himself when he gets a Quelling Blade, but Mugi was forced to buy this Ring of Health first so he can even sustain. He will be losing CS for a while yet, but the Anti-Mage versus Venomancer matchup is not too bad. We could see Mugi take a page out of Burning's book and maybe get multiple points in Spell Shield, something we've seen Burning do before. Widely considered the most influential Anti-Mage player of all time, so...
Yep.
See if
And
he does
he'll
that.
need it against this toxic offlane of Mind Control, and there's double the toxicity. You're running both Orb of Venom plus the Poison Sting on Mind Control.
He is going to level up Mana Break though, so still holding on to the more aggressive approach where if Kaka comes in and has a bit more health than this, maybe they can turn it into a play. Now, top rune?
Yeah, the Curry is coming. Okay, well, Kaka, that's a little bit mean. SCCC could have, in fact, bottled up completely and then grabbed the Invis rune.
Well, you know, it's a lot of time to wait. I think they were worried that the rune was going to get contested. Kaka also gets his Tranquils from the Courier, so he will get full health anyway and can look to make a move. So Miracle is done with mid. He's just done and going to retreat into that jungle. There's a
Well,
double stack.
what a perfect time to have an Invis rune.
Yeah,
If Miracle's going to go
convenient.
jungle, Kaka can just walk up behind him. Miracle is bottling up, but he's still going to take considerable damage. It's a level 2 Burrow Strike. There is no Sandstorm, so Kaka will have to rely on just his normal damage. He can leech in the meantime. And if Miracle does the math, maybe he can work out that an SK is on top of him. Kaka thought he was looking for the Courier for a second. He'll go
waited
for the
for a
Burrow
C.
Strike. SCCC! He was moving off the mid lane, no warning bells flagging up for Miracle, and the Alchemist dies while farming.
SC was just waiting to get that level 6 so he could come down for the Sonic. Getting another big kill, so much better start this time around for Newbee.
This is the advantage though for Kuro. He's able to get rid of that Observer Ward nice and early on. So Alchemist cannot be watched as closely as he was previously. He's already gone off the other lane anyway.
So look at what Liquid have done to adjust. I don't know if this is the right approach. They've sent Matumba Man into mid because he was struggling bottom and they want the Alchemist to jungle, so this is the lane with the most experience, so they want to have a core there, but this Necro is level 4 and he's going to lane against an almost level 7 Queen of Pain in an already Queen favored matchup. This is almost impossible. Any rotation in from these supports in the Dire will either kill Matumba or send him back to base. He needs to be very careful with how he plays this lane matchup, as KP is just, you know, fine with facing anyone bottom. He's Legion Commander. It's a great lane no matter what.
You'll send in another Shaker, a
Mind
hero
Control.
that would, okay, yeah, he's going to beat into Faith. Kaka wants to help him out, but here comes Mugi. Burn him off. They deny him up as
Denied.
well. Mind Control can't even find that kill with all of his friendly Plague Wards around him. They cannot save his life.
All right, Newbee woke up, man. This is something else.
This feels like the shoes on the other foot.
Yeah.
Team Liquid were doing this to Newbee in game 1, and now game 2 comes around, and everything is going up Newbee. And KP's looking for that level 6, and that's why GH is so scared. He doesn't know when KP's going to crack that level 6, and Duel becomes available. Then the Earthshake is gone.
Now the challenge for Newbee in this game is to do something similar to what Liquid did in the last, which is win the lanes and then keep the pressure on. You need to keep finding kills. Since Liquid losing the lanes is okay in this game to an extent because their Alchemist, if he is farming, can overtake the game. But it's going to be a while before that's a possibility, and Newbee will want to get into this Radiant jungle, prevent
They're
it from
coming
stacking
top.
and farming.
The Smoke Gang.
Now-
Mind Control's dead. He has no way to get back off this top lane. Burrow Strike, a level 1 Ice Blast, and Mugi blinks forward, but the Burrow Strike holds Mind Control in position. He'll get a Gale onto Toothsome, some damage back in return, but Mugi kill secures with the Mana Void. Team Liquid were looking for a gang to go a different direction. In fact, they were waiting on bottom, moving the Ancient Apparition down south to help out the Earthshaker in preparation for KP's attack, but it never came.
In the meantime, the Alchemist is still farming. This is the hero to look out for. I say this
Wait, does
every
SC kill mid? He's got Blink and Sonic Wave available, and Matumaman's got 350 HP.
If he knew he was here, he would just go for it. Oh, but okay, that's a lot of
Okay. Yeah, sorry. I forgot it's a Necro in mid.
Ghost Shroud, 17 sticks.
Oh, but still! SC didn't
Who
forget
cares,
anything.
man?
He did the math. He was looking at it. It's like, yep, healed down. Nuke up.
Yep, that's that matchup for you. Queen of Pain is 3 levels above him. Matumbaman heals up to full and dies from full. So, well, what are you gonna do? Miracle is still farming, and this is an Alchemist game. Alchemist is the centerpiece of the draft. He's picked last. They're trying to set up to give him a good game, and he is the hero to look out for.
He still is top net worth of 4,400, 4,500, but Kaka and Faith looking to change around the balance a little bit more, rotating down towards the bottom lane. Don't have the vision on GH, the tree line making it troublesome. Matamaman also rotating over. He's only a couple of points away from having that level 6, wants the ultimate, but thanks to press the attack from Kaka, from KP, Kaka can back off. And they're actually bringing SDCC down to the bottom lane. Picking up an illusion rune. Okay, no, he's just coming for the rune only. No one's defending mid. They understand Liquid have numbers somewhere. They want to see where they are first.
It's a really good point, though, that there's no bounty hunter in this game. I think that was a very clever pick in that series. Was that the lower bracket semis, I think? In which a team playing against Alchemist, it was LGD who ran the bounty hunter and Ursa. So they countered the Alchemist in lane, and then they countered him in game plan as well. And I'm not seeing the exact same thing out from the Newbee side. They have the Anti-Mage who will like to farm just like Alchemist will, and generally that gives Alchemist more space because that 5th hero can't really join. But they don't have like the scout. So they want to send in heroes to at least get wards out, and that's exactly what Kaka and Faith are doing right now.
They found their target.
He has armlet.
There's no level 6 on the Lich. The Courier's going to come
oh my
up.
God,
And the Courier might save it. Fate's attack will follow through. The Courier lives on 12 HP. He is actually the one thing that Liquid has that can potentially survive on this map. SC wants to have another crack at Miracle. Chemical Rage will wear off in a second, and Kaka and Faith, well, if he can't kill Couriers, try the Alchemist. That's a good option. Barra Strike forward, SCCC, he does have the Sonic Wave available, another Shadow Strike. Miracle's Chemical Rage is gone. But with the armlet up, they're not taking the chance here, Newbee. They want to keep pressuring the towers and gaining control of this map.
He's a very difficult kill now. The fact that he got to this armlet sub 10 is good and very important for Liquid. That's still the one thing they really are holding on to in this game, as their other cores are not having that great of a time. Mind Control has recovered fairly nicely, went for the phase boots in that top lane and max plague wards, but at the same time that also means his mana sustain is pretty weak. He's actually running out of mana now and has to go back toward his shrine. Well, actually, just plays a defensive plague, gets some nice info out, and Miracle doesn't care. He's gonna run in.
Yeah, he's fine.
Get off my lawn, man. This is my jungle. This is the area Alchemist wants, but it's warded up very nicely by Newbee.
Yeah, Newbee watched to the north as well as the south, but the funny thing is that there's also...
Oh, SC! You got a
Right.
haste. It's not easy being AA when there's a hasted level 10 co-op coming at you.
Well, it's a little easier when you got the Observer Ward down, so SCC thinks he can go on mid. GH in the neighborhood has Echo Slam available. Wants the creep wave to beat there, however. Now he'll run out. Fissure to start with. Echo Slam! The damage ripples out to the Queen of Pain, but the stun does not.
Just barely out of range of that Aftershock. The 300 radius, I think we're talking 10s there for SC, but far enough away for that not to connect. I wonder if it would have even been a kill. Miracle didn't have concoction skill, so I don't know if the follow-up would have been enough, but...
You do have that plus
We'll
10
never know.
strength on SCCC.
Yeah, it's the standard co-op skill to take on level 10. It's very powerful. This hero, one of its weaknesses is the low health pool that it has, and it wants to itemize mostly items that don't give that much health in the beginning of the game. So the fact that you can skill this 10 strength talent has helped Queen of Pain a lot in terms of becoming a top-tier pick.
Kuro's looking for this Observer Ward, but again, a lot of variation in the Observer Wards coming out. This time is from Newbee. They're a little bit further down, so Newbee can still watch when Team Liquid move further east inside their own jungle. In fact, now realizing that there's only Matumbaman on the bottom, KP has Blink Dagger up. He wants to go for a quick jump, needs the vision on Matumbaman. Their Observer Wards don't exactly see that. And in fact, the Observer Ward from Liquid sees the fact that Faith and SCCC have come to the bottom lane, and Matumbaman hides behind the Tier 1 tower.
Liquid are just going to split pressure this map right now with the Venomancer top and 2 additional heroes connecting there. So probably going to see a tower trade, Newbee, playing in the Radiant jungle. Alchemist is pretty far away from them, so they won't find him. They were probably hoping to do that.
I feel like we've forgotten about mind control. he's just been sitting up on the top lane, fighting whatever farm he possibly can. His net worth's not really reflecting it, but now getting a lot of damage into the tier 1 tower on top. This is a good injection of money for Team Liquid. 2 tier 1 towers have fallen. Ancient Apparition denied the mid, but mind control does get the last hit on the top lane. SCCC will try and even the odds by taking the bottom one.
This is in a way, the only way Liquid can play this game right now is to use this Venomancer to try to knock down towers and pressure out lanes, because their other heroes are really weak at putting pressure on structures. Alchemist needs to farm, the AA is level 5 and can't really do much. Necrophos got shut down in lane, and then you have a support Shaker who has to stand in the backline. So who is actually going to prevent Newbee from just playing their game? It has to be mind control. He has to play aggressive like this. He might die once or twice, but somebody's got to do it for Miracle.
Newbee's coming in force. Miracle's going to keep his farm going. The Observer Ward is there. Might give a little bit of extra confidence now. SCCC, he actually has his smoke broken by Matumberman as they go over the Observer Ward. This may be the best thing Liquid could have seen. Mind Control starting his TP. Kuro will be the sacrificial lamb, and GH as well. The Fissure creating a little bit of extra space. Starts his TP, but KP has the duel available. Kanka, Burrow Strike brings the damage up, allowing KP to get the win. Plus 10 damage into the Legion Commander, but your 2 supports die for what could have been a hell of a lot worse fight for Team Liquid.
It's space. I think they reacted very well to this smoke gank from Newbee. They saw it coming, they dodged in the correct directions, but realistically they will lose 2 heroes there, and it's the two lowest net worth heroes that they lose. So good job from them dodging. I mean, they didn't really dodge the bullet, but in a sense they did. Alchemist is still farming, but so is Anti-Mage. Anti-Mage had a hard start. 14-minute Battle Fury coming in here for Mugi. Skipped the tread straight into BF. Wants to try to keep up with Alchemist's farm.
You know, it's a fun game too when the crowd is actually applauding a Battle Fury being picked up on the Anti-Mage. Also, Miracle just
Welcome to the new age of Dota.
just continuously farming up too. I don't know if this is like a lack of confidence or if he just wants it on him, but he bought the Radiance recipe before he bought the Sacred Relic.
It might be some reliable versus unreliable gold thing. Ha, never mind. 120 reliable gold in the Alchemist.
Yeah, this guy's been nowhere. Scythe up on top, GH's damage. It isn't enough
Big kill.
to get the Scythe kill on the Anti-Mage, but the kill does happen nonetheless.
And the kill goes to GH, so he's closing in on his Blink Dagger. I think that was the best hero they could get the kill on, better than the Necro. Necro will have an easier time finding the gold he needs, but this will be, for GH, a relatively slow Blink Dagger, since most of the time when he's Shaker, he's on the pressuring team. But in this game, he couldn't really find many openings. It's his first kill, very unusual for him, 15 minutes in.
Just smart maneuvering from Newbee. And they keep that pressure up, at least inside the Radiant jungle. KP is farming in the close camps, which the Alchemists would love to farm. They're normally the safest on the Radiant side because they're near both the Tier 1 and the Tier 2 tower. The fact that Tier 1's already gone and the SCCC is running patrol around that tower area. And it's not where Liquid want to go. Even Mind Control is forced to doing ancient farming / stacking, while Faith, he's standing by himself on the bottom lane, getting all the farm and experience he wants. This is just Newbee owning the map, and now they go for more. The Ice Blast will be nice. Kill already happens, a Miracle will fall. They need a little bit more damage into KP. Neither the Quad or the Legion will shatter to that Ice Blast.
GH was not there for that move. Newbee saw a moment of opportunity and just pounced on it right away. If the Shaker's there with a defensive Fissure, who knows how that would have gone, but Newbee take all the opportunities. It's a 1k gold lead with a 10k, with a 10 kill advantage, but that's Alchemist. If you're ahead against Alchemist minus 16 like this, you're doing pretty well. And Newbee are in a great position in this game so far.
I still wait to see just how well this Team Liquid defense can work. Because if it works nicely, if GH can finally get that Blink Dagger, like they're looking towards KP, Reaper's Scythe is available, Ice Blast is on the way, they just have to hold him there. Fissure to make sure of that KP press the attack, the Scythe is down, not getting the perfect chaining of stuns, but the damage output will allow them to shatter KP on the top. But while this goes on, Newbee pressuring that bottom Tier 2 tower. Catapult is there, but so is Mind Control, hiding behind the tower, starting his defensive Plague Wards.
Yep.
He's almost got Yule Scepter too, and this is going to come up at the same time as the Orchid. Well, the Orchid's already done on the Queen of Pain. At least it's something where Mind Control already has the counter, but jump in, he'll get to use it once. And Venomancer will fall, and the Tier 2 tower with him.
So I like this Yule's pickup quite a bit. I think it's nicely multi-purpose in this game. When you get Yule's, you generally don't want to have it only for defensive or only for offensive purposes. It's nice when it feels like you can use it very well for both. Offensively, he can try to counter out the Legion in the duel. He can use it to remove the Orchid defensively against the Queen of Pain. And it gives him, obviously, a way of setting up his team. That this Liquid team actually has very little cash. So even using it to set up a fissure can prove to be very useful at later situations in the game. Also, nice mana regen, you know. Then Benno won't have mana problems for the rest of the game, for sure.
17 minutes is how long it took for the Alchemist to pick up the Radiance.
That's really slow.
Along with the Armlet.
By Miracle standards. It's the 3 deaths and the shutdown of the map. He didn't get to free farm. And worth noting still is he's the only one having a good time on Liquid's team. Everyone else is clearly behind par of what they would like.
They just need space, but they're also fearful to be anywhere on the map. Mind Control just ran into mid, threw out the Venomous Gale and put down the Plague Ward, but he's not staying close enough for the experience, something you want to do as a Venomancer, especially when you have that plus 30% experience gain. You need those levels. They're going to need those big wards up.
That's going to be a while.
It will be.
If he gets to level 25, that's a first good step, I guess.
I'm wondering if he even thinks about going, because he's already picked up the Yule Scepter, so there's a counter to the Silence, which is out. But do you go for what we've seen a couple of Venomancers do, but I think it's been mainly their first item, the Hand of Midas build for a Venomancer?
I think he needs Force Staff. They need some sort of mobility to utilize their other heroes. If they can't move their heroes around in the fight, they're going to get caught by these either multi-hero stuns or all this AoE magic burst.
This is really patient. The Blink Dagger is up on the Earthshaker. Kaka is underneath a Radiant Observer Ward. They understand Team Liquid, and Matubberman's playing it so damn cool. He's not attacking. He's waiting for them to get in range. And now, Fissure, jump up with the Ice Blast. They'll punish the SK, who all he was doing was being a farm voyeur.
He died.
Yeah.
It was a big commitment. There was a smoke as well. So smoke kill onto support is generally not the best, but it's something for Liquid on defense. And I think there was a bit of two things. First of all, they were just being patient so they could set up the kill, but they had plenty of time to do that. They were trying to get a good read on the map. Did he have anyone behind him? Because else why would he sit there? And they had a lot of time to think it over.
They're backing up to smoke. So they're backed up a decent ways away from any Dire Vision. In fact, right now, Dire Vision is, well, non-existent. I'm looking for an Observe Ward on the map for the Dire, and it just doesn't exist. So Newbee completely blind on the map. At the same time that Liquid want to fight, with Radiance and Armlet up, Alchemist has Chemical Rage in 4 seconds, they want to get into battle. You've got Yule Scepter for control, you've got Blink Dagger and Echo Slam also available. Kaka, is it going to be him once again? Blink in from GH, they'll keep the Chain Stone going, actually committing the Echo Slam, and they'll side them down. 30 seconds on the sideline for the SK, while KP hiding in the trees. Vortex trying to give vision. He'll blink further up into the trees. Mind Control has some Plague Walls to throw, but they need that little bit further to the right vision. And they don't have it.
They still got the tower there.
Wait, are they going up?
No. Aggressive move.
No.
Ill-advised.
Yeah. Anti-Mage is still farming up inside the Radiant jungle, and Team Liquid, they can at least leave the pressure up so Alchemists continue to farm the Dire jungle, but the teams have basically switched neutral camps.
Miracle created a bit more of a gap there with this play, getting that tower, getting the assist gold. Now he's going to almost have his Manta style, who, well, speaking of which, Mugi has his in about 200 gold on the anti-mage, so big items coming out, but he'll be overtaking him. Oh, I guess AM will be overtaking him if they get one gank on the Alchemist. These Alchemist kills are really important right now, and they might try to use the Manta style for it, but if the game is played at this current pace and very slow, Miracle will keep building a further and bigger gap for this anti-mage to try to catch up to. He's currently sitting in bottom, as the rest of his team is posing up top. Look at GH actually just going into fish. Oh, God.
That's confidence.
Well, that was close.
That's a lot of confidence. Kaka from Burrow strikes Kuro. Gets the second TP back out to base, so GH and Kuro is escaping from the lane.
He more or less blink dodged a melee Scream of Pain, or a short-range Scream of Pain. So very close to connecting. If it connects, he's 100% dead. But it wasn't Kaka that found him, it was the Queen. Doesn't have any instant damage to prevent that blink. So he gets out, and again, space is the name of the game for Liquid. Just keep buying time. And for the first time in this game, we might actually see Liquid get ahead on gold in a moment.
It's definitely getting closer. It's sub 1k. The difference between Liquid as well as Newbee. The experience graph, however, is a very different story. Sitting around 7,000 in favor of Newbee, just getting more across the map. And of course, Anti-Mage loves this. He's still got his mana style. He's good for, not great for fights, he's just good for fights, but good for the push game too. So both Mantas on the 1 positions.
Mookie went for the attack speed talent on Anti-Mage. I mean, I might be wrong on this, but I think almost everyone takes the blink cooldown to quicker be able to traverse the map and get more farm, to have more chances of jumping in and out of fights. But it takes 20 attack speed, which is a fairly insignificant amount on a hero that already hits that fast. But, well, might feel like that little bit of extra.
Aka, gotta get out of there. Sandstorm, Fisher coming in, and he's able to fire a strike up. The scythe will connect KP, breaking him free with the press, the attack. There's still a lot of tick damage on him, KP. Maybe it's time to turn and deny him, or you can just let him die.
He can't deny him.
You're right, you can't.
No Gale. They had the other 2 spells on him, though.
He actually hurts himself by Presley attacking him.
Yeah, if the Gale was on him, then you're right. Then he might have died else. Oh, there goes the bottom tower.
Oh look, Alchemist.
Can you press off Gale? Not sure. Gale is a special spell, man. Gale is weird. It has like its own subset of rules for how it works. I'm not sure. I don't remember, honestly.
We can check later and learn Dota.
Yeah. You can probably press off Gale, but you can't beat off. So hard purge works.
Oh.
Oh.
Meanwhile, back at the farm game, Boogie's going to head north. So moving as far away from the rest of Team Liquid as possible, exactly what the Anti-Mage has to do until he feels really ready to fight. At the same time, Miracle, we're talking about those early towers going down, item progression, he's looking at Octarine to come up next. It doesn't really feel too like Team Liquid are going to have a bad time with Miracle getting more and more farm. Almost every single hero has a very good Aghanim Scepter on the Team Liquid lineup. So the longer this game goes, they're going to love it.
Surely scale. Both Necro and Veno are great late game heroes in their own right. Now, that's a dead Veno.
The duel onto him, Sonic Wave connects down to Kuro. The Lich Chain Frost bouncing down towards Matumba, but the epicenter from Karka not really close enough, and Matumba actually gets a TP out. They look for a different target, and it's GH on the other side of the trees. 3 quick pickoffs. Legion Commander does die for the cause, but potentially opens up Roshan.
Yeah, they're thinking about it as a Plague Ward. It's so annoying.
And look at Briggy actually, like, I was wondering if you would do this too. Like, you talk about the attack speed. He's going Diffuser Blade as his next core item.
This is a build we've seen sometimes on AM. In this game, it's great strictly because of the Necrophos. You want to purge off that Ghost Shroud. It's AM's shortcut to just hard countering that hero. And we're going to see the smoke here. So it breaks instant duel coming out from the Legion Commander, connecting with Queen. Kuro kind of just died to collateral damage. It wasn't even the primary target, just got hit by everything on the way there. And a couple nice extra picks for Newbee, losing their Legion.
Yeah, good picks for Newbee, keeping that lead, still 15-6. Of course, the kill count is that point when you understand that kills don't mean everything in Dota. Yeah, Newbee have the kill count board 25 minutes in, but it's the gold advantage, which they are barely holding on to, and Liquid are going in for Roshan.
This is a big moment. There is no Sonic Wave and no Chain Frost. Chain Frost actually coming online now, and no Epicenter. So Liquid, with that last 3-for-1 fight, the 3 big ultimates were expended.
So they just not fight then? Or is it... They have to pressure this somehow, even if it's just overwhelming odds. The Plague Wards are causing issues. There's 2 of them on the high ground, and thanks to the Observer Ward that's also planned that Karka's getting rid of, they see a lot, and Karka can't blink in. He cannot do that disengage, so he has to jump inside the Sandstorm. Blink will come off cooldown. Roshan's pretty low. There's your jump forward. It goes on the GH's Earthshaker. Agency Ball are in the hands of Miracle and Liquid. Now they have everything they need to win this fight. The Ice Blast will onto the SK, even the Scythe. 3 heroes from Newbee are falling down. GH gets the Echo Slam off, but Newbee, now it's time to fight with their cause, or is it? Moogie backs out towards the Shrine. SCCC can't kill off Kuro. That one tree blocking the vision for him. He'll blink up and away. And the denial is there from Mind Control. The Shadow Strike being on him, not going to do the work. Moogie can't get that kill. The 1 charges, giving the mana back to Matumbaman.
Was that even close?
I am not certain.
Was he close to killing him with that Mana Void, and then suddenly Matu has 1500 health? I don't think Necro is that broken.
So here's the jump. Surprising Karka didn't even go directly into the pit. Instead, he tries to hold back GH.
He couldn't blink. He kept getting cancelled by these Plague Wards from the high ground from Liquid, and they are so good when you're taking Roshan. The Plague Ward advantage, they're really helping out Liquid and securing this great play of the game. I think now they're kind of in the driver's seat. They have the Octarine Core and Aegis now on Miracle and could start looking to siege some buildings if they want to, or keep building up farm, getting some more key items. There's a big item currently flying out to Matumbaman. He's going to get that Linken's that he can also put on the Alchemist if he wants to. But Liquid, like you said, maybe they don't even have to try to win with this Alchemist so fast. Like some games it feels like, okay, if Alch doesn't win, eventually the enemy team will overtake him with good late game carries, but not so sure in this one. So many good Axe heroes. All of the Liquid lineup uses Axe. The Shaker one is kind of funny more than anything, but the other heroes, it's very powerful on.
Also to note too, maybe the mindset and tempo change up. Matubberman originally even bought the entire Dagon and then sold it to then move back into the Lincoln Sphere. So they understand they need to survive early on. They make life difficult for Newbee to get initiations. That's what the Lincoln Sphere is capable of doing.
And Anti-Mage did the same.
Yep.
So
Anti-Mage went in for the Lincoln Sphere. Decided to go that and have the regeneration over having something more like the Aghanim Scepter we've seen on Anti-Mages, which has both the Lincolns and the Lotus Orb effect tied into it.
I actually think Axe would have been really nice this game because of the 2 spells he can reflect being really high impact. Reflecting the Scythe or reflecting the Concoction would have both been really good. And else he would be reflecting like Cold Feet. That's also nice. You threaten the AA, force him to move away. Realistically, AA will not really be casting it on him, so, you know, I think most of the time I'm a fan of the Lincoln's pickup just because the stats are better per gold, but in this game the Axe could have actually been really nice.
Team Liquid are going to form up on bottom lane, 5 heroes together, bearing down on the tier 2 tower. And Newbee are in no position to fight this. They're still trying to push out the side lanes. Mookie and Kaka taking care of the top, so it will be a straight tier 2 tower with the Octarine core onto Miracle. Lower cooldowns, wonderful regeneration, not just from the chemical rage, but also from that magical burn. He's looking at Assault Cuirass next, and he may even be looking at the tier 3 tower next. They're coming in now. Moogie, he has the TP ready. Kaka ready to TP back as well. Blink in, finds the Burrow Strike. Looking at the Alchemist, Manta Dodge was attempted. But while that Aegis Immortal is on the Alchemist, Miracle will stand just chipping away at the tier 3 tower.
Oh,
Blink in, no! Lincoln Sphere actually triggered off the back of the duel. The Scythe is the return punishment for KP's misdemeanor.
Oh, he didn't see that Matoma Man has the Lincolns. That's such a big mistake. No buyback one. This is going to be Raxtober. They can't kill this Alchemist twice with these heroes now. They need that
just looking at it.
mail.
Kaka needs to bring in the epicenter. They need the damage. Here comes the epicenter from Kaka, away from the wards. He's able to get the Burrow Strike in. Necro low. The Sonic Wave will kill him off. Where is this damage? However, the Echo Slam from GH. Car holding down the Anti-Mage. Moogie's in trouble. The blink up and the Plague Horns were there. Koro's the man that shatters him out. When that Ice Blast connects, there's just too much damage being done. You still have the Aegis Immortal there. As now, well, Miracle cancelled himself, but GH, oh, the silence! SCCC controls him perfectly. Now the Aegis Immortal, it's gonna burn. Can they hold him there? Miracle back into the Chemical Rage. Manta is up, beating into the range rank, turns attention over towards Moogie. He's already Radiance burning down the rest of the Newbee heroes. All he has to do is stand there and he's winning the game. Bringing down the creep wave now into the melee racks. Frost Armor is making this difficult, but not impossible. Team Liquid, where's that Burrow Strike? Coming in from Kaka. SCCC is back. He has that Orchid available. He waited for the Mana Style, but the damage is done. Miracle claims the melee racks. They need something in return. The Lincoln Sphere triggers once again. Is Moogie moving forward? KP has the duel available. Looking for the target. Miracle is low. Can he get the duel off? Look for a different target. Mind Control over the side, and they will find this pickoff. SC and Moogie together. KP still wants a bloody duel. But what can he get? Mind Control. There's your duel. Victory comes in. The Scythe doesn't do enough. Tumberman looking for another opening. He just walks around inside the shroud. They'll all blink away. Newbee, this has been a very expensive defense, and they still lost their bottom lane of racks.
Yeah, who did they buy back? Anti-Mage only, I think?
It was Anti-Mage, Lich, and Sand King. They had three buybacks from
I could not keep track of that. I was just laughing because Miracle was in the middle of everything. Lich is just attacking him for like 20 damage and dying to the Radiance and Acid Spray, and then Miracle in the middle of the fight, he has the presence of mind to just say Eta GG in his team chat while he's being hit by 3 heroes. Oh man. Can you care any less than that, man?
It's a positive mood in the Team Liquid camp. We'll have a quick look at the fight once more. That's the critical moment. The Lincoln's trigger, but Tumberman is safe, and the Legion Commander just cannot get what she wanted.
So full lane of racks, 3 buybacks, and all they lost was Alchemist, Veno, and was that it? Did they even get any additional kills than that? Not sure.
Okay, that's a thing.
That's funny. Oh wait, we're playing for 10 million.
There is a decent amount. A lot at stake, especially if Liquid can take this game being 2 games up. in the grand final. That is a horrible tunnel that Newbee will have to look down. The one when they walk off the stage knowing they're one loss away from losing that crown that all these players want so badly.
Yeah, Newbee's early game went very well this time as well. That's what they've got to be thinking about moving further. Win or lose this game, the early game went well, and right now it's not looking good. So again, what adjustments do you make at this point for the next one? Do you try to... I think they will have pick priority in the next game, so maybe was it that last pick from Liquid that was the really big problem, that they could get this Alchemist? Could they have banned something different?
GH.
There's so many picks.
Stun on the Kaka, Falstaff going to push him up. SCCC tries to create space with the Shiva's Guard, and Miracle's going to stun himself through the Linken's protection.
Yep.
That
No way for
Dagon
them
is
to jump
finally
on
on. That Dagon is finally on Matumberman.
Level 1. Still a
is.
decent amount of burst with Veil. And here we go again. So Liquid are not hesitating at all to put the pressure on.
This time there won't be
Actually,
the Aegis Immortal, but he does have an Assault Cuirass, Blink Fire Strike, and KP. The duel is out. Ledge going to bounce around. Mind Control brings it down, but it comes back up again the side. KP can't survive. He'll lose the duel. Miracle will come in with a plus 14 damage. Looking to try and end this. It's Matumberman with a double kill. And Miracle remembers objective-based gaming. Buyback is there from SCCC, but losing 2 cores already, one of them forced to buy back on Newbee, is already a huge victory for Team Liquid, but they're not done yet.
they're going to wait for Chemical Rage and push for the high ground again, knowing that key cooldowns are now not available. There's no Chain Frost, no Blink Duel. And he's just going to go in again.
He's going to try and run the back lines. Blink Burrow Strike, holding Miracle into position. Venomancer almost down the Mana Void. Moogie couldn't get it off. Now the Exocet from GH will control him. And this will be a huge kill if they can claim him. Andy Mage is falling. Andy Mage is down for 2 minutes. They've lost the numbers. There isn't enough defense here from Newbee without the Andy Mage, without their big core. They just don't have the damage. And GG, 34 minutes. Team Liquid, more than dominating. Ripping apart Newbee at the seams in game 2.
It's been so beautiful to watch how Liquid were 1 game away from elimination and have just slowly discovered what their strengths are as a team. Like, I think Liquid is the team in this main event with the most draft victories in this game. I didn't feel like they were clearly at an advantage, but they're building the advantages that they can in the given picks. They have so many tricks and aces up their sleeve that they can use. And it just seems like these other teams late in the tournament pale in comparison with what hero pools they have to pull out like this.
Didn't Samal say it perfectly on the panel, Matumberman, this guy just has such depth. There's so many heroes he can play, and not just play, he's really bloody good at them. Newbee have to find an answer, and they have to find it quickly. 2 games down in this best of 5. They need to drag it back somehow.
And this was a game where, remember, Newbee did well in the lanes, they did well in the early game, they drafted to win that. They still lose the game at 34 minutes in. They lost a couple of fights and it just snowballed completely out of control with this last pick Alchemist and just the general buildup of Liquid's draft. They look unstoppable right now.
They really, really do. The run through the lower bracket was beautiful. Their run in the grand final is fantastic. As you can see, Liquid have death in store for Newbee. Is it possible? Will there be a whitewash?
One more game. One more game.
Team Liquid with the 2-0 lead over Newbee, doing the unthinkable, winning all the way through lowers, and are now 1 game away from the first place at the International 7. To talk about that last match, we got Ake, Fly, and No Tail from OG. Gentlemen, welcome. I mean, right away, Fly. What a comeback.
Yeah, that was an insane game. You know, they start out with all these kills. Newbee is doing great. And then Liquid just is composed. They know they have this Alchemist, which, you know, is a great hero. And then they just bring it all back. You know, they realize they can't fight them. They play so good.
And it wasn't even like a big moment where Team Liquid suddenly turned the tides. It seemed like just slow, gradual, grinding. Miracle just continuing to get bigger and bigger.
They managed to get a couple of kills with Necrophos. That was like very key for them. They were a bit behind, I think, because the Alchemist wasn't that far ahead as he maybe wanted to. But with like these kills, they managed to actually save him some time to farm more.
Yeah. I mean, No Tail, talk to me about what you think were the big moves that Necrophos were doing that were letting them get back in the game.
I think there were a lot of good moves, like a lot of smaller good moves that kept happening. Like we just saw a couple of Necro reprecise ultimates, and they just kept coming. Newbee, they weren't really responding to what Liquid was doing to them. Like Alchemist is farming, that's one thing. You're trying to trade it for anti-mage farm, but if Liquid keeps getting these kills, like casual kills, and if it's on an anti-mage, it's really big. Like these things spiral the game out of control. And then there was also the Roche fight where KP just dies. And this is also like a very big opening for any Alc strat. It's like when you get the Roche kill and get an Aegis.
Yeah, and I mean, talked a little bit about when we had Sumail and Crit up here that SCCC really wants to be able to snowball, to have that actually very good mid-game opening, and that's, excuse me, mid-lane opening. And that's exactly what he got, but it still wound up not being enough. Now, Purge, I want you to talk to us a little bit about that early lane dominance, how TL was able to come back from it.
Yeah, it really seemed like Newbee had the upper hand consistently through all of the early ganks, yet they still kept the gold advantage kind of similar. A lot of that was probably Alchemist, but like No-Tail pointed out, some of those really crucial kills were really important. And most of this game was about blink daggers, really. Killing Legion Commander when he has a blink dagger and you don't is very difficult, because that means you have to damage him before he uses blink. Otherwise, he's going to blink away as he sees you approaching. So the way that Liquid made all these ganks happen are really interesting. Fissure first to set up the Ice Blast. They used Reaper's Sight to give it enough stun duration so that GH could just walk in to do enough, and that gets him a kill on KP. They did something very similar versus AM. Kind of similar gank here. They need to stun him from ranged with Fissure, use Reaper's Sight to buy time for GH to walk in for stun duration, then he uses everything he's got to guarantee kills. And if they keep killing big cores on the enemy team, that's going to get them a lot of gold back into the game. And finally, the other place that Blink Dagger was really important was around the Roche fight. If you put Venomancer wards all over the area, every time that they attack somebody like Legion Commander, he can't use his Blink Dagger. And because of that, it forces Newbee to go on a bad target, such as like Earthshaker. And by the time KP finally gets in there, Aegis is dead, Miracle can basically just run at his opponents, and they get a big advantage. So this was about the initiators on Newbee not being able to initiate or escape in the early mid-game, and finally Liquid just got way too far ahead.
That's a really great, subtle point you bring up about the Reaper side, that so often people just try to use it as the big damage to get the extended respawn duration. But there were so many times in that opening game when Earthshaker couldn't follow up the Fissure on Queen of Pain in mid because of the time it takes to walk from the stun location to Queen of Pain. And having Reaper's Side there to just provide that little extra second or two was instrumental. And with that, I mean, I don't even feel like it was a bad draft necessarily for Newbee.
I think Newbee is a bit shaky right now because they actually had a super good early game. They got a draft they really wanted. They got this early mid-game dominance, and then they weren't even able to close out the game.
I mean, I think I wouldn't be very happy if I was Newbee looking at that draft, because even though you're so ahead, it actually takes very small slip-ups and you're actually losing that game completely. Because what happens is you actually can't fight these heroes if you look at it. They have LC, Queen, AM cores. These cores don't really do much together. They're good at maybe splitting the map, getting like an early advantage, but if you're not going to keep snowballing, you're going to lose the game. So every small pickup they got, like Liquid with these clutch plays, which are honestly very clutch, these moves are extremely hard to execute and even think about in the game. Like, we're going to gank this AM by starting with Reaper Scythe. This is like, this is some TI final stuff, you know? This is actually like really well done by them. And what happens is, like, I'm very impressed by Liquid because they just realize their timing and they're not afraid to use it. So even though they're behind, they're still going for these clutch plays. And when they get them, this Alc gets another minute to farm over AM, and they go for this Roche, and they're really playing like amazingly well.
I think this game in particular, like, it shows the Anti-Mage Alchemist matchup pretty well. Like, Anti-Mage can be winning the game up until a certain point. If Alc ever gets the lead, it looks really hard. There's a lot of things that go in favor of Alc in this matchup. One is that he starts farming earlier, like he starts getting the GPM much earlier, and then he has an earlier timing than AM. When AM has a Battle Fury, you might have Radiant's Armlet. Like, this might happen, and if that happens, it's pretty easy to force fights and use this Alchemist like to punish this anti-mage pick.
So, I mean, if you were looking at Newbee in that game, do you think they needed to be more aggressive, try to dive in on Alchemist more frequently?
I think it's hard to say. It's really hard to say what the best play for Newbee is, because they did a lot of right things. SCC, he was definitely doing really well.
He was incredible in the opening.
Like, overall, both teams played well, but there's this one thing that I didn't like for Newbee, is that they just kept getting picked off and never went for a move, or made a move right after the pickoff was happening, or like, there's just no response there. They need to find some way to like open their own draft to start killing heroes.
So, I mean, we've talked so much about how difficult it is to draft against Team Liquid, and that they've had a lot of strength in the drafts. Do you think that Newbee have finally found some footing as it relates to drafting in the series, or do you still think they're struggling there?
I think that they might try to go for something else than this, maybe a bit more team fight to be able to pressure the towers earlier, because they, like as we said, they actually had quite a good early game, but it didn't turn out well.
Yeah, I think it's pretty difficult right now if you look at it. You look at Liquid and you see all these heroes: Necrophos, Shaker, Coddle, Io, Huskar, Alchemist, like Broodmother. It keeps coming. Like, how do you actually deal with this? You have to choose what hero you want to play with, and you have to choose your poison, actually.
I mean, you're going to have to choose it fast if you are Newbee. You can see both teams are heading back out onto the stage. It has been minutes from the loss where Newbee had a 10-0 lead at the start of the game. They had knocked down all 3 towers, all 3 tier 1s. And Team Liquid, without any exceptional single moment, gradually clawed their way back into the game. And I think you said it best, Fly. Who do you ban? They have like 15 heroes that they've been playing successfully.
Yeah. I mean, I think the first thing they should focus on, I think, for Newbee right now is to just reset emotionally. Like the first game, they got knocked to the ground by Liquid, and the second game, like they fought Liquid, they threw a few punches, but then in the end, like Liquid just got back in the game, and now it's the third game.
Yeah, and it could be the final game. This could be the last game of TI7 with Team Liquid sweeping 3-0, but Newbee still has the chance. They still can win this game, and they'll have to win 3 more if they want the championship after that. Before we go into the game, since it could be the last, let's check in with Slacks in the arena.